power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart. Finding the power of the heart. The power of the heart.
The power of the heart. Power of the heart.
让我们寻回心的力量。
The power of the heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chao. You are tuning in to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Any person, even the worst criminal, inherently has the spirit of a bodhisattva. To demonstrate such point, the Lotus Sutra contains the parable of the jewel hidden in the robe. Once upon a time, there lived a man who had a rich friend. One day, this man went to visit his rich friend, who entertained him with food and wine. He became completely drunk and fell asleep. The rich friend suddenly was called away for urgent business. He wanted to give his friend a priceless jewel and saw the gem into the hem of his sleeping friend's robe. The man awoken and totally unaware of the jewel. He eventually sank into poverty and experienced many hardships. After a long time, he made up with his old friend again. The rich man told him about the gift, and the man learned he had possessed the priceless jewel all along. So, in reflecting in this parable, we should realize that to live a happy, meaningful life, we must always seize each moment to do good deeds, because time is like this priceless jewel we always have on our side if we only know how to use it. In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Dharma Master Cheng Yen's teaching on life economics about Will Tomorrow Come For Sure. This reading is provided by Mr. Colin Legerton. Then, after a short break, we'll discuss this teaching with Mr. Jack Black.
Dai Radio is just a click away. You can listen to the Dai Radio anywhere in the world.
Section 2. Will Tomorrow Come For Sure? On September 21st, 1999, at 1:47 a.m., the Earth suddenly shook violently in Taiwan. It was the devastating 9/21 earthquake. At that time, some people had not gone to bed yet. They might have been planning the next day's business, full of hope for tomorrow. Some might have already been asleep, dreaming sweet dreams. Others might have been quarreling and wanting to separate from each other the following day. There were many different life dramas. No matter what their plans had been, when the earthquake hit, sweet dreams were shattered in an instant. The friends they planned to meet might have been gone forever. The people they wanted to separate from could have passed away in the earthquake. The survivors grieved with agonizing pain. Life is truly impermanent. Will we live to see tomorrow? Everything we do, we must do with diligence and perseverance. In the case of spiritual cultivation, we may practice diligently in the beginning, but as time goes by, we can easily become mindless in our daily lives. Sluggishness and mindlessness are the two major forces that stop our wisdom life from growing. There is a story about King Yama, the ruler of hell. One day, King Yama realized that fewer and fewer people were being banished to hell. He expressed his concern to the ghost soldiers, asking, what should be done to boost our population? General Oxhead replied, I can go to the human realm and tell people that there is no heaven and therefore no need to do good deeds. No matter how many good deeds they do or how many good intentions they have, they are all useless. King Yama shook his head and said, this will not be forceful enough. General Horseface said, I can go tell the humans that there is no hell so they can do whatever they want. King Yama did not think this would be effective either. Then, a little ghost spoke up. I can tell the humans that there's always tomorrow. King Yama was very pleased with the idea and said, yes, you go and tell the humans that there will always be tomorrow for everyone. It is human nature to become sluggish. If people know that tomorrow awaits them, they will think that they still have time. Spiritual cultivation, they can do it tomorrow. Good deeds, they have tomorrow to do it. They will put all their hopes on tomorrow. As a result, their determination and diligence will dissolve. They will become sluggish and ultimately fall into hell. From this story, we can see that life is impermanent. How can we still hold expectation for tomorrow? On December 26, 2004, a massive earthquake hit near Aceh, Indonesia, and triggered a tsunami that swept over more than 10 countries in South and Southeast Asia. Within minutes, over 50,000 people were killed in Sri Lanka, and more than 240,000 people lost their lives in Banda Aceh, Indonesia. The total number of casualties in the region remains unknown. It all happened in an instant. Life is truly impermanent. The tsunami wiped out numerous buildings with its destructive force. One convenience store had just celebrated its grand opening at 9 o'clock that morning. Shortly after 9, it was swept away. A ship taller than a 3-story building stood in front of a half-destroyed building. It had been pushed 6 kilometers from the sea to land on a street. A time of crisis is also a time for great awakening. Witnessing that life is impermanent, that our homeland is fragile, and life or death is determined in an instant, do we truly know whether we will live to see tomorrow? What are we still fussing over in life? The important thing is to stay positive and do what needs to be done when it is right and we are still able to do it. We must also bring forth the love in our hearts and make this love last. After the tsunami, the sea became calm and beautiful once more. When will the turbid waves of our society become pure and clean again? There are 365 days in a year, 3,650 days in a decade. Many people think that even if today is wasted, there is still tomorrow. If tomorrow is wasted, many more days remain in the year. If the whole year is idled away, we still have thousands of days left in the decade. We think our life is infinite, so we tend to waste it. We really need to remind ourselves that life is impermanent. Although we are safe and sound today, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Being happy now, we don't know what will happen next. Therefore, we must always seize each moment to do good deeds. If we only daydream, our life is empty and useless. What constitutes a happy life? To really feel grounded and stable, that will be a happy life. Life exists between breaths. When I wake up each morning, I stretch my arms and move my legs. If I can move freely, turn over and sit up, I feel grateful. One should feel content at having a clear mind and being healthy. Can we foresee that we will live through the next 24 hours safely? It is difficult to say. One day, the Buddha addressed his followers. "My dear disciples, you have followed me in spiritual cultivation for so long. Do you know the true meaning of life yet?" The followers looked at one another, wondering what the answer could be. Then one disciple volunteered an answer. "Life exists from day to day." The Buddha shook his head and said, "You still do not know the truth of life." Another disciple then offered, "Life exists from meal to meal." The Buddha shook his head again. Then a disciple said, "Life exists from one breath to the next." The Buddha smiled. "Right. Life exists between breaths." When we can exhale and inhale smoothly, we are alive. We often think little of breathing, believing that it is a simple matter. However, our life exists between breaths. Mr. Fung and his wife have been Tzu Chi volunteers for over 10 years. His father is very amiable and has joined Tzu Chi as a recycling volunteer after retirement. The Fung family is full of diligent Tzu Chi volunteers. I remember visiting Buddhist Tzu Chi General Hospital in Xindian one day. Afterwards, I went to check up on the crops at the Da'ai farm adjacent to the hospital. Then I stopped by the recycling station, which was very clean and tidy. The elder Mr. Fung chatted with me cheerfully and expressed his gratitude at having the recycling center to work happily in. He cherished his ability to work, and although retired, he never stopped working. One day, he suddenly felt tightness in his chest. He looked fine on the outside, but since the recycling center is close to the hospital, he decided to walk there to see a doctor. The outpatient physician suggested that he first take an electrocardiogram. Since the electrocardiogram room was only 1 floor up, he did not take the elevator. On the landing of the staircase, he suddenly toppled over. Because few people used the stairs, he was not found until 10 minutes later. Due to the delayed rescue, he had to stay in intensive care for some time. According to the elder Mrs. Feng, the clearest sentence Mr. Feng uttered after he got out of intensive care was, "Do recycling well, dispatch 2 more trucks, stack things well." After that, he never said another word. He was subsequently transferred to a nursing home. The younger Mr. Feng is a filial son. He continues the recycling work and visits his father in the nursing home every day. He often tells his father, "The master says that whatever is meant to happen will happen, so we should accept it gladly when it comes." The elder Mrs. Feng never once complained. She often speaks to her husband too. The younger Mr. Feng once said, "My father didn't waste his life. He kept working until the moment he fell down." The entire family exemplifies understanding, tolerance, faith, and selfless love. The Fengs understand the law of cause and effect. They also understand karmic retribution. I am truly grateful for and touched by them. The law of nature is that all things come and go, without any warning at times. We don't know when the end will come. Therefore, we must cherish life and understand how to seize each moment. We cannot wait. Time never stops. We must cherish each day and make the best use of time to do good deeds. If we do not take hold of time, it will be like starting to dig a well when we feel thirsty, or trying to fix a leak when the boat is already in midstream. It will be too late. People often say, "Spiritual cultivation? I'll do that when I'm old," or what I cannot accomplish today, I'll start tomorrow. It is as if we have plenty of time tomorrow. In reality, tomorrow is another day. We have other things to do tomorrow. When today is past, it is gone forever. Do not keep waiting and pushing back time. Some people think they possess plenty of time because they are young. Others think they can rely on their wealth and power. But when the end comes, whether faced with failing health or impending death, everyone is helpless. No matter how much money you have, money cannot buy time. I always feel that time is running out. Like a spool of thread on a sewing machine, when the spool is full, it does not seem to turn very fast. But when the thread is almost used up, the spool seems to turn faster and faster as the foot pedal is pressed. When we are young, we hardly notice time's passing, as if we still have lots of time. If we cannot finish a task in this hour, we still have the next hour or two to do it. However, as we age, we begin to realize that every day passes quickly, and time indeed waits for no one. Life diminishes as time goes by. People should help one another in a timely manner, even if another person needs only a little. If we can give assistance in time, he will be very grateful. But if someone is in need and we are unwilling to give, hoping to wait until after we have saved enough for ourselves, that is not helping in a timely manner. No matter how great our wealth, it will be worthless. The ancient Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi was once too poor to buy food, so he asked his friend to lend him 3 liters of millet. The friend told him, "I don't have too much right now, but I'll lend you 300 taels of gold once I collect taxes from the villagers." Upon hearing this, Zhuangzi sighed and said, "On my way here I saw a tiny puddle about to dry out. A fish in the puddle called out to me to bring it a few glasses of water. I told the fish, 'Let me go to the kingdoms of Wu and Yue and ask the king's permission to channel water here from their rivers. Then I can return you to the ocean.' The fish became very angry and said, 'Then you might as well visit the fishmonger tomorrow to find me as a dried fish.' Having said this to his friend, Zhuangzi left. What the impoverished Zhuangzi needed was only 3 liters of millet. To him, 300 taels of gold was unimaginable and not what he needed. Those in need do not ask for much. Yet those who are well off are either too stingy or worried that they will lose face if they give too little, that they miss the opportunity to help others in need. Life is impermanent. We cannot control what we will achieve in the future. Many years ago, a man shared this story with me. He told me that a friend of his was well-to-do but lived frugally. Though he had much, he hardly ever thought about others' deficiency. The man often told his rich friend to do some good deeds, but his friend always replied, "I will when I have made enough money." But when would that be? Nobody knows. One day at mealtime, this friend suddenly lowered his head and lost consciousness. He was taken to an emergency room. Therefore, we cannot wait until we have enough. We cannot wait until we are wealthy to do good deeds, especially when we cannot be sure that we will be rich in the future. After Taiwan's devastating 9/21 earthquake in 1999, Tzu Chi determined to rebuild 50 schools in the Project Hope program. Why were we so bold at that time? We did not have abundant funding then, but we had a sense of urgency. Why? The schools were damaged or destroyed. The students could not wait. Elementary school has only 6 years and middle school only 3. If schools cannot resume quickly, how could the students receive a proper education? How could they study with peace of mind in makeshift tents? We often need to seize the opportunity and take immediate action. We successfully rebuilt 50 schools in 2 years, even though we had no money at first. After making the commitment to restore the schools, we then inspired people to donate their resources and labor. I am grateful to the Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan and worldwide for their efforts to make Project Hope a great success. Thinking back, I was indeed audacious then, but fortunately I made the decision in time. Otherwise, how could we have rebuilt those schools? We must not wait until conditions are perfect before we do something. Each person must choose his or her own path in life. If this path is pointed in the right direction, then we must seize the opportunity and take action. It is the same with contributing to society. Some excuse themselves by saying they are too young, that they will contribute when they are older and have fewer obligations. But how long can they wait before they have free time? Finding time wisely in a busy schedule to do good deeds is definitely the right thing to do.
Hello everyone, my name is Owen Polivka. My favorite Jingshi aphorism is, it feels wonderful to be loved, and feels even better to love. May wisdom and inspiration be with you always.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Tapping into the power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom. Finding the power of the heart.
Our special guest today is Mr. Jack Banks. Jack is from Nevada City, California. He has lived there for 6 years. It's a remote town 3 hours driving distance away from San Francisco. Back in 1860s, it had more population than San Francisco because it's where the gold rush took place. Right now, after most of the gold is gone, city population is very small. He's visiting the Jinsi abode now because his city friend Jessica encourages him to come, and all the causes and conditions seem to be right for his visit. Also, he has always wanted to meet Master Cheng Yen since he started his Tzu Chi way. So he takes a long journey across the Pacific Ocean to be here at the Jinsi abode in Hualien, Taiwan. Welcome to the program, Jack. Thank you for joining us.
You know, I've been a Buddhist for a very long time, maybe 40-some years. And I'm always interested in the Lotus Sutra, which is what I practiced. I became dissatisfied with some of the explanations I was receiving. So I was looking online, and I came across one of Master Cheng Yen's videos on the Lotus Sutra, where she lectures every day. It cleared up, a great deal for me. And all of a sudden I started to see this text in a whole different light. And then it was really, I was amazed to find out that not only was it just this one video, but there was hundreds of videos on the Lotus Sutra. So it was, I really experienced some joy. Master Cheng Yen is, so generous with her Dharma. So I guess it was from that point on that I started to want to learn more and more. When I found out that the Tzu Chi, that she inspired people to be vegetarians, that to me was important. Then I knew that this organization walks the talk. So that inspired me to find out, or to seek out other people who were volunteering. I always try to open the book, and have someone read an aphorism. And it struck me right away that there's something very powerful about the message in these aphorisms, because people would start to read it and all of a sudden they'd stop and you'd see something go off in their head, and then they'd go back and read it again. And then you'd see almost like a satisfaction come across their face. So it was very touching for me to experience that, and it encouraged me to do more.
Sometimes when we pass on these lessons of wisdom, it is like we are lighting up that candle within other people, and the light within ourselves never diminishes, and yet we create so much light out there, and together we just light up the world so much better to provide more warmth and more light for people who are in need of direction. And that's why every time when we see that sparkle of recognition, reading either the Jinsi aphorism or Master's work, and people really use that to help them overcome their personal challenges or hardship, that we just feel very, very happy for them. And this joy is everlasting. So not only do we understand how precious her teachings are, how helpful her teachings are, but we also share with all the people out there.
Yes, it was a great way to build affinities. And as Master says, it's never too late for a deeply rooted affinity to blossom.
Master said that a time of crisis is also a time for great awakening. So when we witness major disaster like earthquake, flood, fire, or tornadoes, we remember that life is impermanent and nature environment is fragile, and death can come at any given second. Do we truly know we'll live to see tomorrow? We don't, and that's why we really want to seize the time and do all we can. How do you feel about time? How do you look at the amount of time you have, so then you can decide what you need to do today? Because very often people cannot seem to decide what they want to do today because they think there's always tomorrow.
Well, I'm not a youngster anymore, and I don't really think that my past life was I managed my time very well. I probably wasted a lot of time just trying to entertain myself. So when I first started to hear Master talk about time, I realized that I don't have that much time left, so I have to use every moment that I can to benefit others.
Very often I try to communicate this message of life is limited and impermanent to my friends and colleagues who are not yet a volunteer yet, and I often find them resisting to such idea. Have you tried to share these lessons with your friends and acquaintances?
That's been difficult because my other Buddhist organization doesn't really do charity. They don't do relief. It's mostly recruiting members. I mean, they have meetings and they have a lot of dialogue, which is a very good thing. So I thought I could introduce, during these dialogues, I could introduce some of Master Cheng Yen's ideas. And in a way, they're open, but I found that for the most part, they're only open a bit. They're not really fully open, and so I really it's just been a difficult situation. I think coming here to the abode makes me want to go back and try harder to make to help people open up even more.
I believe with yourself going through all these experience, and you can bring these to them, but maybe some people will take slowly and not so quickly as you have embraced it. You just go immediately, dive right in and experience the joy of volunteering, helping people. Well, thank you very much, Jack. Our time is up today. We'll be listening to this book, Life Economics, over the next several episodes. Please join us next time to continue our discussion on life economics. If you want to read this book we're talking about, you can find a copy of this book in any Jingsi bookstore and cafe. For more teachings from Dharma Master Cheng Yen, please tune in next time to our program. Goodbye and have a great day.
Love's the language of our souls. Love's held in hearts, not hands alone. Love's our small wish for you to enjoy. We wish you forever peace and joy. Love walks tall while sharing smiles. Love's found in silent gratitude's eyes. Love's giving more than yesterday. Believing strong, brave and not afraid. Give love openly as the sun shines warm light on you and me across every distance. So show our love, dare to dance. Spread love readily, pave the long road ahead tenderly. Your soothing blessings heal all pain and suffering. Sharing smiles. Love's found in silent gratitude's eyes. Love's giving more than yesterday. Believing strong, brave and not afraid. Give love openly as the sun shines warm light on you and me across every distance. So show our love, dare to dance. Spread love readily, pave the long road ahead tenderly. Your soothing blessings heal all pain and suffering. Across every distance, so show our love, dare to dance. Spread love readily, pave the long road ahead tenderly. Your soothing blessings heal all pain and suffering. suffering. Your soothing blessings heal all pain and suffering. Your soothing blessings